Go! Hi and welcome to the Reboot Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Amazon's original docu-series. Finally managed to say it right. There are 6 episodes in this docu-series and it's called This Is Football. I'm not actually a massive football fan. The most I watch football is when England is playing in the big World Cup, and sometimes we'll get around with my family and watch an occasional match. I come from South Africa, so rugby is much more kind of in my background, and even then I didn't watch much rugby. I spent the first 16 years of my life in South Africa, and I came across and I was inundated with the world or almost religion of football. So if you're like me and you go, hey, you should watch this docu-series because it's all about football, and you're probably going, no, I don't want to do that if you're not a football fan. If you're a football fan, you probably will jump at this. What I can say is that this docu-series is nothing like I've ever seen before. It is a tour de force, kind of just celebrating what football has done for the world. And if you think about the sport of football, it is something that is kind of around the world, and whether you call it soccer or football, it is something that is celebrated almost in all parts of the world, and it brings communities and people together like nothing else.
It's shown us what we can do when we work together.
So this docuseries celebrates football as a whole, but really focuses on the people and how the people are affected by football and what football has done for people. And so the first episode is set in Rwanda and is called Redemption, and it focuses on the people's love of football, especially the Liverpool football team. I'm just checking my notes because there's a lot to talk about. It's really in depth, this docuseries. I should say that the score and cinematography, I think this is at cinema level. You could watch this at the cinema and just be completely blown away by how it looks, how it's represented. Obviously, the first episode is in Rwanda, so it's Africa, so I'm immediately drawn in because I love everything Africa. But what I was really surprised by is how much time they spent on the history of Rwanda. If you know anything about Rwanda, then you know Rwanda went through a massive genocide and it was just horrific and so many people died.
Football can actually help bring communities together.
So the Rwandan president used football as a launchpad to draw the country in together. So it didn't matter if you were Hutsi or Tutsi. Don't really want to go into that, but the docuseries goes into it really well. So you get this first episode that's called Redemption, because it really is the redemption of the country, and what is held as the platform is football and how it brings everybody together. And it was just beautiful to see. I was quite teared up a number of times just watching that first episode. And then you have all these other genres that the docuseries goes through. It's redemption, first belief, chance, pride, love, and wonder. And I particularly loved love, because the love episode goes from China to England, and it just shows all these different peoples of how they're affected with football. One of the best things I saw in that episode is blind people playing football. There's an actual league. I had no idea that blind people could play football. In my mind, it shows how selective it is, but to see blind people playing football, I thought was brilliant. It was so amazing to see blind people just being really involved in a sport that I would have thought that there's no ways that would be even a possibility. It was just brilliant. And then you have women's football, and it's just celebrating how the sport of football has really helped communities around the world, people, regardless of what sex or color or tribe, it kind of has brought the world together in places. So where sometimes football has a negativity to it, when I came into England there was some negativity to it because football and hooligans seems to go hand in hand. This really kind of shoves that to the side and shows what it actually has done. And it's beautiful to watch because it's filmed in such a way that it really is showing the people.
I never thought sick while I was watching soccer.
How football has really affected everybody, and it shows how it's bigger than politics, it's bigger than religion, it's bigger than color. And I think it's like I said right at the beginning, it's a tour de force celebration of humanity and the sport and how it's kind of shaped the world in parts. I think it's brilliant. If you're not a fan of football as a whole, you might be at the end of this, but you also might be really interested to see what football has done within these 6 episodes. It's a really interesting documentary. It's not, I mean, it is about football, but it's about the people more than the football or soccer, depending on where you come from. I really like how they've separated each genre. Each episode kind of stands alone as its own documentary. They're about an hour long, and you could watch each separately, and you don't need to watch them in any particular order. So you start at the place of redemption, then you end at the place of love and skill and wonder, which the last episode is. And it just really kind of celebrates everything that this has done. I thought it was amazing, and I'm not even a massive football fan. I love to watch it occasionally, very occasionally. I'm not even sure I've watched a match this year. And that should tell you something of how great this documentary is. And it's nice that I guess it's not biased because there's only one side, it's just celebrating. So you can go into this knowing that the people who made this documentary really love football, and they're really kind of showing it what it has done. I think score, cinematography, the story that they have with each episode is all done brilliantly. I think this series is fantastic, and I'm going to give it an A+. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this series. Are you interested in checking it out? Maybe now I've piqued your interest. Do subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate your support and chatting to you guys. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.